Greetings, my friends. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Grit and Equity Talks podcast with your host, Dr. India White. I'm so thrilled to be here with you today. I hope that you've had a winning week. I hope that you are able to dive into your dreams and change lives and lift up others all around you. There's so much love to go around. I hope that you are able to contribute to that love. We'll talk about some of that today in our show. But before we get started, I do want to make some announcements to you. So, first things first, this podcast, the Grit and Equity Talks podcast, will be featured on the X Factor EDU network with Dr. Matthew Joseph and the tribe. So, make sure you check us out on Spotify whenever you get a chance and all the other outlets. Thank you, Dr. Joseph and the tribe, for being amazing. And so with that said, I also want to remind you guys that you can follow me on social media. Let's keep in touch. My Facebook is Miss India White. LinkedIn is The India White. Twitter is Indie Speak and Teach. Instagram is Indie238. YouTube is India White 123. And TikTok is Dr. India White. Now, if you are on this show and you're like, okay, why am I listening to this podcast? What will I get out of it? The main point is that if you are seriously trying to close the achievement gap and you're having classroom management issues, or you're dealing with students who aren't motivated to do work, then this is the podcast for you. We do talk about a couple of different topics. So I hope that you guys enjoy these episodes with me. I also wanted to remind you guys of some upcoming events for those out there. You California rock stars, it has been fabulous so far. I am enjoying it. I have some grit and numeracy workshops I've been doing in California. Absolutely had a great time in Pasadena, LAUSD, and beyond. So thank you for all of you guys that are receiving me, receiving the work, receiving the grit framework, and learning more about how grit and numeracy works together to help all of our students thrive. I also wanted to let you guys know that I am scheduled to speak at CMC Central in Bakersfield, California. And after that, I will be heading over to Minnesota to do some speaking at the Minnesota Math Conference. So look out for me there. And then I will hop over to Wisconsin, helping out there. And then we have some other events coming up. And yes, I did also get my acceptances for NCSM, and I'll be joining some rock stars at NCTM, speaking there as well. So I'm super thrilled. Can't wait to see you guys. Can't wait to hug your necks and mingle with you and share a lot of great conversations and moments about math and education. Thank you to everyone that has trusted me on your platforms, that has worked with me, partnered with me, that has given me a chance to help bridge the achievement gap with you. It means more than you know. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Now, I want to talk in this particular podcast today. I want to talk about teachers, and I want to just talk about what we need to do to help our teachers. So we're going to focus on teacher mentors. Again, we're going to focus this show today on teacher mentors because I think that, we do so much talking about helping students and, bridging the gap. But can we be honest? Teachers have been overwhelmed. Some teachers are burned out. Some teachers are thinking about leaving the profession. Teachers are just feeling like they're underpaid. They're not respected. There's low dignity. And I think that it's time for teachers to have a bounce back, and they need grit. But not only that, they need to be restored. And that can happen through teacher mentorship. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about mentoring. And I found some really cool things that we can kind of dig into together in our time where we talk about teacher mentorship. And so first things first, I want to talk about a rock star named Miranda Bowman. She wrote an actual article paper on teacher mentorship. And so she spoke and said that mentorship promotes rapid learning and it builds a level of consistency that's useful in all aspects of the day-to-day practice. So she's letting us know that there are so many different benefits. She continues, okay? She talks about the benefits of teacher mentoring, and she says how when you have teacher mentoring, it helps with team teachers, it helps with leadership, and it helps with teacher retention. And that is definitely a soft spot right now in our nation, is teacher retention. And so I'm happy that she wrote on this. I kind of want to pull up her article so that we can see more about what she was talking about in regards to teacher retention. So let's look and see what else she said. you can go to eric.ed.gov. I'm going to dork it out with y'all, right? So, okay, so let's read. So she talks about how teacher retention, it's an ongoing issue in education, particularly for new teachers. And so she talks about how bachelor's of ed students are told that most of them won't even last in the profession. And that is true. I mean, many times when, teachers are studying, the professors tell them, look around, look at your left, look at your right. One of you guys aren't going to be here. They always say that. And so she's talking about when novice teachers, when they leave their profession, it affects schools and the educators who remain. She talks about how mentoring programs, it shows educators that the assumption that teachers need to go into their classrooms, close the doors, and figure it out themselves, and how that is so archaic. And she's so true. She says instead they become more team and process oriented, thus benefiting the students in the school's climate. I like that. So this right here, I hope all teachers get this. Don't go at it alone. Find your teacher partner, find your friend, find the person that's going to mentor you and help you. So let's keep reading what this rock star Bowen has to say. So she continues. She says, there are significant changes to a school's climate whenever the school is unable, for whatever reasons, to keep their teachers around. Retaining teachers in schools is just as important as the process of hiring them. Not just hiring any teachers, also making sure that you have representation so that you have diverse teachers on campus that can relate to the needs of students and can connect with them culturally and ethically as well is key. So they're going on here. So when schools retain their teachers, they keep professionals with organizational knowledge, whereas novice teachers require time to develop those essential skills, okay, and to deliver unfamiliar programs. Low retention rates mean that schools continuously have to start over instead of dealing with the larger educational issues that they may have. And this is so annoying for administrators, school leaders, school districts, because it's like you get a teacher hired and then unfortunately it goes into permanent sub, part-time sub, permanent sub. And sometimes the substitutes don't have that background knowledge of really how to connect with students. They don't have the knowledge of the content, and therefore it's affecting the scores and the proficiency rates and the gains of students. So this really becomes just an overwhelming spiraling ball that just gets out of control, and it affects the community overall. It affects graduation rates, it affects the job market, everything. So we definitely want to focus on teacher retention. So, and just like I just said, she says here, similarly, low teacher retention rates can have negative effects on a school's environment, disturbing staff cohesion and community, which also may also result in the disruption of student achievement. So here's some data here. She says, next line, as many as 50% of teachers leave their profession within 5 years of teaching. Wow. At times when they are most likely reaching their maximum influence on student learning. That's horrible. And it says here, if new teachers were effectively mentored, they would more likely stay in those teaching professions because they would experience more support and better working conditions. So mentoring is going to provide instructional assistance and is going to promote socialization between those novice teachers and the rest of the staff. She continues, Stanilis and Floden, 2009, they found that new teachers received intensive mentoring and they remained in the profession, and they exhibited a retention rate for that far exceeded the national average. I want to say here, she talks on, she says, Mather et al., they learned that 39 of 41 novice teachers who received mentoring remained in the profession. So having mentoring promotes efficacy, it alleviates some stress of being new in the profession, and it encourages teachers to remain in their chosen career. I want to say something here. I am a living testament as to how teacher mentors and how that really works and how it's really effective. I had a mentor, Dr. McPherson. Shout out to her. She was amazing. My first years of teaching when I just graduated from University of Florida, and she was a rock star. And I remember she just knew so much. And she took me under her wing, and she made sure I knew how to, like, do a lesson plan and knew how to connect with kids. I remember, I think she gave me the very famous, oh my gosh, First Days of School. What is that man's name? Oh my gosh. You guys know what I'm talking about? Teachers, First Days of School, that book. I've got to look it up. First Days of School. Bear with me. It's a book called The First Days of School. So I'm looking. Harry Wong. There you go. She gave me that book, First Days of School. If you guys have never had that book, I highly recommend. If you are a new teacher, I almost swear by that book. That book is everything. It helped me so much. And I remembered she, helped me with that. She supported me. She would check in with me. She did her job. And so I'm a part of her success. And I remembered she was also an AP teacher, and her kids always got like level 5s and stuff. She was a rock star. She taught English. And even though I taught math, she really still watched out for me and helped me. And she told me some things that she did, some inside scoop, some information as to how she remained in charge and the students didn't run all over her. Because remember, when I started teaching, I was really young. I think it was 21 or 22. And so my oldest student was like 20. So she had to help me so that I didn't turn into one of the students. So she really poured herself into me and loved me and took me in and listened to my stories and helped me balance. And I remember at that time, that is when I used to take my work home with me, and I used to stay up, and I used to grade everything till late at night. Never had any free time on Saturday because all I did was grade. And then I remembered even the principal at the time, shout out to Mr. Herschel, he would walk into my room, and it would be like 8 p.m. and I would be still working on a lesson plan, still seeing what I could do to help students, because I'm like an empath, whatever they say that, and I would just want to give it all to the kids. And I remember the principal would walk in and say, "India, time to go home," and he would turn off the light and make me leave because I would stay till 8 p.m. And I'm thankful because it avoided burnout. I mean, I could have burned out those first couple of years, and I was still learning. But long story short, it was through Mrs. McPherson, Dr. McPherson, her work and what she did for me that helped me. And I remember she helped me with certification, making sure I was certified and made sure I followed all the steps. And that is what teachers need today. They need a teacher pal that really is for them, not someone that's like, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And then trying to, stab them in the back or throw them under the rug, under the bus or shove them under the rug on the side. Teachers need genuine support, and they don't need to feel like, they're being mentored by somebody that's oppressing them or someone that's or that's like bullying them, saying that they're for them, but the whole time they're like trying to, take the rug out from underneath them or shoot them, behind their back or whatever. Like, they don't need someone that's not going to be genuine to them and to their success. And all of us need teacher mentors. And so I kind of want to do a shout out to all of you great mentors out there, teacher mentors. And I want to challenge all of you rock stars out there that maybe you've never mentored someone, that maybe you can start considering how you can become a teacher mentor. Do you have what it takes to be a mentor? Do you have the love it takes? Do you have the patience? Do you have the communication skills? Do you have the experience? Do you know how to put all that in a package and do well? Some people are great. Some people maybe not so great. Test it out and see, but I know Mrs. McPherson, I just want to say thank you to her on this podcast for being a phenomenal teacher mentor for me. So I laugh because there are some things I cannot share on the show that she taught me about teaching. She was awesome. And so anyways, so yeah, so let's continue to talk about teacher mentoring. I thought I found some really cool things that I wanted to continue to highlight for you when it came down to teacher mentoring. So I found another really cool article that talks about not only teacher mentoring, but how when you have that, how teacher retention, how to help keep teachers from leaving. So look here. So it talks about teaching and learning. It's changed fundamentally since, the last Chalking the Line, which I guess is a post that they've done. And he's talking here They're saying what we desperately need, okay, is to keep best teachers in the classroom with students, especially now when students' education is being disrupted and for some is not being provided. Teacher retention is every bit as critical to the future of education as recruiting new people to the profession. And so they're going to now propose an idea. They say 4 doors. So the revolving door of new teachers. So it talks about how Nick Morrison reported in Forbes a year ago that only a third of teachers stay in the profession past the 5 years. What is driving teachers away? We've got to figure out what that is and how to mentor teachers so that they feel supported and strengthened. And I want to just thank all of you teachers for being beautiful people, being phenomenal, being just trend setters, trailblazers, molding future babies, and for pouring your love into people, because you are making a powerful difference, whether or not those kids ever come back and say thank you. I just want to say thank you on behalf of them. So keep up the phenomenal work. Now let's continue to talk about the revolving door and how we can close this. So it talks about this. Look at this. So he says new teachers are expected to perform all of the responsibilities of an experienced teacher on day one, while simultaneously adjusting to a position in a 24/7 profession. This is so true. And that is why teachers begin to burn out, because they go to school, they learn how to become certified, they learn how to teach and how to make connections. And then all of a sudden, what happens? They open their email and it's a million emails from the district. It's a million emails about the faculty meeting. It's a million emails about teacher duty, and all of the stuff that just kind of catches them off guard. They don't know that they have a friend on campus or a mentor, so they don't know who to go to. So they're holding all this stuff in and they're hoping they get proficiency, and then they get the scores back, and it's just all the stuff. And then they've got discipline, and then they've got the new curriculum, and it's so much. How do we help our teachers? So let's continue to talk. So it talks about they often secure teaching positions in the most under-resourced schools, right? With little support other than additional requirements to attend extra meetings and professional development sessions added to their overbooked schedules. And then, of course, certain districts, you have to have a certain amount of professional development in order to keep your certification. Then you have to recertify, and it's all this other stuff. So look here. The author says, without developing resilience, one of my favorite words, the only coping strategy for 2/3 of these new teachers seems to be leaving the profession before their student loans are paid. Wow. And that's sad, you know, and they need to be gritty in order to have that resilience. So they have to build that resilience to stay gritty, to stay in the profession, to know that they're going to bounce back no matter how low, no matter what. They're going to stick to it. I know some teachers, they set goals. I'm going to give it 5 years. I'm going to see what I can do. And I highly recommend teachers do that. Start with goals. I want to stay in the teaching profession for 5 years, no matter what. I want to stay at this particular school for no matter what. I want to get promoted to assistant principal or to district in 10 years. Like, set goals and challenge yourself. I want to learn from this mentor teacher, you know, how to have seamless classroom management like they do. I want to be that teacher that all the kids want to hang out with during lunch, but yet they respect me in my class. So figure out how to have that balance of you're the teacher that the students respect, they do work for you, but at the same time, they're not like crossing boundaries to where it gets weird, sticky, and all this, and they still respect you as a teacher. So with that said, let's keep talking. So it says, without developing resilience, like they said, the only coping strategy has been to leave the profession. And it says to stop this revolving door, the same old induction, mentoring, and class assignment structures need to be re-examined and customized for the current time. So he's talking here more about some stories, the glass door to teacher leadership. So a recent report on the National Board for Professional Teaching stated that 60% of teachers believed opportunities for additional responsibility and advancement while staying in the classroom was very important or absolutely essential. And so let's talk about that. Like the glass ceiling metaphor, the glass door to teacher leadership needs to be smashed so teachers have the chance to lead and make a difference outside of the classroom. And so I've got to say, shout out to all you amazing teachers. Teachers are so smart, proficient, geniuses. And sometimes they have to put up with so much mess where people try to come in and tell them what to do, feel like they're a 4-year-old child. And they're like, are you serious? Like, I went to school for this. I know how to, make games for students, help students be proficient. Like, I'm not dumb. I'm just, needing advice, a little bit support. And sometimes teachers have to deal with, these condescending tones and these situations, bullying, all kind of foolishness. And it just runs them off because they're over it. And I think that, we as leaders have to be very mindful as to how we can restore the dignity and uplift and elevate all of our teachers, because they really are making a difference. And I think the community really needs to get on board here as well when it comes down to teacher leadership, because we can't do it by ourselves in the world of education. We need families to join and to be a part of this common cause of the success of our students. So if you are a community leader, I challenge you to do your part, whether that's donations or contributing some other type of way to teacher support, standing with the teachers. And if you're parents out there, try your best to stand with those teachers, especially the teachers that are truly following, principles and like ethics and doing their job and following through with fidelity, doing a wonderful job, doing their best to help your child to be proficient. They need all hands on deck. So with that said, let's continue to talk about teacher mentors, teacher retention, and all this other good stuff. I want to show you a really cool video that I found that really speaks to teacher mentoring for us. Let's pull it up. Okay, so let's watch.
So one of the things that we know is that teachers, when they start their careers, often say that they learn the most out in schools from their mentor teachers working in classrooms with kids.
We know that those experiences heavily shape what it is that pre-service teachers come to do in their own classroom, or how they make sense of teaching, learning situations, and so forth. And in many ways, there's a lot of really good work that happens in that as you're actually like, quote unquote, like on the ground, like working with kids, learning from the mentor teacher, et cetera.
But because so much of the time mentor teachers actually don't receive very much support in learning how to mentor, it's kind of anybody's guess whether or not the people that teachers end up with are going to know anything about mentoring.
Wow. Before we move forward, OMG, did she just say a mouthful? Like, sometimes the teachers that are assigned to be mentors don't have a clue. We have to make sure that the people in the spots of mentorship are the right fit and that they are competent for mentoring teachers, because we're trying to build a career. We're trying to build a rock star into that next level of leadership, or we're trying to build them deeper as educators, and they deserve to be placed with the best fit educators. So let's keep watching.
Oftentimes they're really, really great teachers, but they're also oftentimes people who've never had the opportunity to mentor another adult. Wow. So preparing.
I want to say something. Mentoring teachers is different from mentoring students. I had the opportunity to take some adult ed classes in college, and I learned that when you are dealing with adults, it's just different. It's a totally different ballpark than when you're dealing with students. And I think that for those that are like, you might be interested in being a teacher mentor, something that I think you should definitely consider. Let's keep watching.
Mentors to do a really good job of inducting somebody new into the profession is going to make the work that teachers do in their first few years on the job much better.
So we could get better at both supporting the mentors to take up a role as a teacher educator, to be more explicit about their practice and their work with the teacher candidates. And we could also be better about supporting the candidates to know how to kind of engage with their teacher, with their mentors around the work of learning how to teach.
So we kind of took the bull by the horns of this problem of how do you actually get mentors good at the work of mentoring, people who maybe have never had an opportunity to mentor adults before. And we said, well, you know who's going to be great at helping mentors mentor other mentors. So we created these opportunities to get mentor teachers together inside of classrooms with kids to practice a set of routines for mentoring that we created.
We try to come up with a set of what we call mentorship activities, things that mentors can do with their candidates in the moment of teaching. So
I like that. She talks about mentoring activities, and I think that this is powerful because it gives empowerment to teachers. But then the teachers can also emulate that. They can duplicate that, and they can do that, at the appropriate level for their students as well. So we need to definitely continue to uphold all these rock star teachers with some various levels of support, including mentorship like this. So let's continue watching.
Not kind of after teaching's ended, but actually in the moment with kids, to again make their practice much more explicit, to make explicit the decision making that you're engaging in as a teacher that's really complex.
So whether it's to try out a classroom management strategy, or to teach a mini unit in writing, or to teach a certain small group in math, we're asked to do assignments and try them out in our placement classroom, and having a mentor to talk through those lessons and to talk through those ideas with, and make them tailor them to the students that I'm teaching, make them something that make a lesson that's going to benefit our students, has been a really valuable piece of my education.
And really for me too, I realize I'm just I learn more from collaboration. So having someone to sit down and talk to about a problem of practice, or I'm not sure where to go next with this, or what this is the standard, how can we make it really exciting? Having someone to process that with and bounce ideas off of has been wonderful, and it benefits the kids as well, because they're getting something, they're getting two minds working on something, so we can kind of hit it a little bit deeper.
I think this is pretty powerful when she spoke about collaboration. And a thought came to me that I want us to consider, especially expert teachers, mentor teachers. The number one question: are you approachable as a mentor teacher or as an expert teacher? Are you a teacher? So now I'm shifting to those that have been in the career over 5 years. You're getting results. You have proficiency. You're amazing. Can new teachers approach you and really learn from you? Or is it walking on eggshells? Or is it a gotcha game? What is it? Can new teachers, trust you? Or are you that teacher that, you have to have your cup of coffee in the day, or you're going to bite somebody's head off, and you're maybe not as nice and lovey-dovey as you would like to be at times? Maybe it's just an area of focus, but just think about that. When you're on campus as an educator, you are a part of a school culture. What are you contributing to that culture? What love language are you contributing? Where is the love at? How are you contributing to building the other teachers? Or is your school climate one that's so competitive that you're just kind of in your own zone? You don't want to mentor anybody. Nobody wants to mentor. Like, everybody's doing their own thing. What is it? And I just want to challenge you to think about that. And are you approachable? Can you make a difference? I hope so. And I think that if not, maybe you can reflect a little bit and say, how many teachers have I helped this year? How many teachers have I helped in the past? Or if you are that teacher, start thinking, what am I doing right? And how can I share my knowledge with others? Because I need you, especially if you are that rock star teacher that's helping others. You need to be out here. You need to be helping. We need to hear from you. Because sometimes, it's one thing to learn and to know and to be an expert. And then there's another thing to be craftful and strategic and effective in how you're able to help others do the same. So I want to just challenge you, if you're out there in the space as an educator, to strive to be a teacher mentor. And if you need help from a teacher mentor, ask for help. Don't try to do this on your own. You do not have to, okay? You have a plethora of support. So cleave to the teachers around you, especially those that have been around for a while. They're there for a reason. Figured out how they were gritty enough to stay and to stick around and persevere no matter what when they wanted to throw in the towel. Learn from them, copy their ideas, and partner with them. And when you get great ideas, share. There's enough love to go around, enough ideas to go around. Don't be afraid to join forces with other rockstar teachers and others that are on your level or beyond your level, because we're better together. That's why I love this particular X Factor EDU network because we get it. We're stronger together. So you've got a lot of rock stars doing their own thing, but all of us together, it's just amazing. So with that said, I want to thank you so much for listening. And I want to encourage you to please do your best to mentor teachers. If you're an administrator out there and you're listening, try to implement a teacher mentoring program or see what your district has going on. Do they have instructional staff that, can be used as mentors for the first year teachers? Check on that third year teacher, that second year teacher that might be on the verge of burnout. Check on them and see if you can put a plan together to help them, not a gotcha plan, but something to really love them and help them through those low moments, so that you can continue to build them as educators and to continue to strengthen your school culture in your community. So thanks so much, guys, for listening to me today as we spoke about teacher mentorship. And again, I wanted to remind you of my information so that, if you're wanting me to, join you at your school district to speak, to do a book study, or to provide professional development, whether that's like a GRIT training or equity training or book study, whatever you want, speaking at an event, I'm here. So come on, let's link up. Let's do this. You can email me at india.white.123@gmail.com or send me an email or send me a website. Get on my website at www.india-white.com and we will make it happen. I also wanted to remind you of my social media so that you can follow me. Okay, so social media. Facebook is Miss India White. LinkedIn is The India White. Twitter is Indie Speak and Teach. Instagram is Indie238. YouTube is India White 123, and TikTok is Dr. India White. So again, I will see many of you guys at these upcoming events, whether it's numeracy workshops, California. Thank you. I love you, California. And I know you love me. It's been fabulous. And then, of course, I will be at CMC Central in Bakersfield. And then my next step after that, I think, is like working with some of you guys in Massachusetts, work with some of you guys. Doing the Twitter nights in FCTM. Watch out for that. That's on March 14th. And then also Minneapolis and then Wisconsin in May. So I'm super excited, and I'll stop there. So listen, please follow up with me. Let's stay connected. Thank you so much again for listening to the Grit and Equity Talks podcast. This has been fabulous. And I hope you guys have a phenomenal week, phenomenal weekend. And no matter what, stay gritty. And I'll see you next time. Take care.